Hello Cloud Pedagogians, welcome back to the course. In today's session, we are going to implement DynamoDB in our student directory application. But before attempting this, please make sure you have successfully completed with the previous labs. Check the link in the description for the details. Right now, it's the time to put your new database knowledge to use. So far, the student directory application is operating on EC2 and you have already created the Amazon S3 bucket from which the application will read from and write to for the student photos. But you are not really able to test that out without the database also being in place, since adding a new student needs to store both student photos as well as students' data. So let's fix that with DynamoDB. We are going to need to create a student table for the application to write and read from. We will create this DynamoDB table using the console. If you remember, we have changed our minds about using RDS and decided to change it over to DynamoDB. It's only one table and it's essentially a lookup table for our students. How hard do you think this change is gonna be to make? Well, our application is actually designed to use either RDS or DynamoDB as the backend database, so this won't take long at all. In this lab, you will create a DynamoDB table called students and you will configure the table to store the student ID, first name, last name, location and job title, etc. You will then open the application from the browser and attempt to add a new student, edit the student and delete the student. After each step, you will verify the data is being updated in DynamoDB using the AWS console. After you are done creating the table and populating it, you will have a working app. The DynamoDB table you will use will be automatically scalable and highly available. If you are ready, let's go with the task. In the task 1, we will test the existing application which we have created in the last labs. In task 2, we will create a DynamoDB table for our application. In task 3, add a student in student directory application and verify the data. In task 4, we will edit a student details in student directory application and again we will verify the updations. In task 5, we will delete a record from the student directory application and verify it is deleted in the DynamoDB table as well. Finally, in the task 6, we will delete the DynamoDB table which we have created for this application. Starting with the task 1, we'll first test the existing application. Copy the public IP address from the EC2 instance and run the application in a browser. I'm going to add a student record here. The page shows saved. Let me check my S3 bucket. I can see my picture is saved. I will download the picture to confirm it. Here is my picture that I have uploaded from the student directory application. We could be able to store the photos successfully, which we have discussed it already. But how about the data that I have filled in the application? Where can I look for it? Don't worry, this application is already designed with a DynamoDB table called students. Only thing we need to do is to create a table which is going to be in the next task. Good job, the task 1 is completed. In the task 2, we will create the DynamoDB table which is actually used to store the student information. Part of your responsibility is to keep the student database up to date. To do this, you will create the DynamoDB table for the student directory application. Here, I'll show you how. I'm in the console and I'll navigate to the DynamoDB service. The console displays an introductory screen that prompts you to create your first table. From here, all you need to do is to create a new table. Tables in DynamoDB require you to designate certain attributes as keys that will make an item unique. So, we will select student ID as the unique identifier for the items in this table. Then we will just accept the defaults and click on Create the Table. Our application was coded to look for this table specifically, so this actually should all work now that the table is created. Click on the student table link. Here, a high-level overview of the actions available per table within each navigation tabs like Overview, Indexes, Monitor, etc. But in this lab, I'm not going to discuss all those things. Our focus is to only work with the application. So, we will go ahead with these things in the other labs. The Overview tab includes recent alerts triggering for the table, details about DynamoDB streams, and the table details such as the table name, partition key, sort key, date and time of the table's creation, and the table's provisioning throughput settings. Likewise, you can see other tabs as well. Click Explore Table. This can be helpful to scan through the table items. Right now, we don't have any items. Let's run the application and verify them in the next task. Great job! You have created the table successfully. In the task 3, we will add a student in the student directory application and verify the data. To test it out, let's head over to the website hosted on EC2 and try to add a few new records. I'm going to add 2 new students here. See, that was nice and easy. Now let's go back into DynamoDB and refresh the page and scan all the items in the table. There it is. You can now see the entries in the database made from the EC2 application. It's really that simple for a lookup table like this one. Now, student directory application will look up data from this table. Let's check in the S3 bucket as well. Here are the pictures that are uploaded by the student directory application. So, the photos and the data are successfully added when we add a new student to the application. Good job, you have completed the task 3 as well. In the task 4, we will edit a student details and verify the updations in the table as well. It's the time to test the student directory application by modifying the existing student record. Click on a student name link. Click Edit button and change the data. After you see the success message, go back and check in the DynamoDB student table. Congrats, the data is changed in the table as well. In the task 5, we will delete the student record and verify the same in the DynamoDB table. Click Delete link under the image to remove the record. So go back to the table and refresh the items. The item is no longer in the table. Let's verify the same in S3 bucket. You can see the image is still exists. This application is designed to remove the items from the table but not the photos in S3. So the images still exist in S3 even though you remove the record in student directory application. So make sure you delete or empty the bucket after this lab completed. Congrats, your deletion operation is successful. In task 6, we will delete the DynamoDB table which we have created for this lab. Choose the desired table for deletion from the table list. Finally, select Delete Table. After choosing Delete Table, a confirmation appears. After you confirm, your table is deleted. Congratulations! Now your student directory application works fully functional. Please don't forget to remove all the AWS services that you have used to run this application. I really appreciate your interest in this course. When you are ready, please join me in the next lecture. Until then, take care.